A few years ago, my testosterone levels were at an all-time low. I looked weak, I felt weak, I had severe depression symptoms, and I had social anxiety. Like I couldn't just go out and talk to people normally. It would give me crippling anxiety. I would literally overthink every social situation. And I'm pretty sure that if at the time I had actually done a blood test, my testosterone levels would have been pretty low. And that's exactly why I am making this video today. Because at the time, I seriously wished someone had given me a step-by-step blueprint to follow to raise my testosterone levels naturally. It would have improved every aspect of my life. I would have felt more confident, been able to take more risks, build more muscle in the gym. And as a man, testosterone is even more important. The truth is, if you have low levels of it, you won't feel driven to conquer the world. Instead, you'll be lethargic, complacent. You'd much rather go watch Netflix instead of going to the gym and hitting an intense workout session. And of course, naturally, this will impact every aspect of your life negatively. The first way to naturally increase your testosterone levels is through diet. If you're always eating processed garbage, like hamburgers, you're always eating out like in fast foods and stuff like that with your friends, well, guess what? You're literally poisoning your body. I mean, you've got to realize, food is fuel. Most people, they eat but only for pleasure. They forget like the key reason why we eat. It's to give our body enough nutrients, enough minerals, vitamins like building blocks to be healthy, to function properly. Yet most people just look at food as a way to get extra dopamine. I'm not saying you have to hate every single thing that you eat. In fact, if you follow a diet that you hate, you will never actually stick to it. I love my diet, and that's exactly why I never feel the need to sleep up and have cheat days. But back then, like almost a decade ago, when I was skinny and weak, I would listen to the wrong advice and I would eat like a very clean diet. I wouldn't even put salt or pepper on my vegetables because of sodium intake. So it became so extreme, and at some point I thought I was fat because I couldn't see my abs. The truth is, I just had no muscle. So obviously I couldn't see my abs because I had none. Like they were invisible. So I fell down the rabbit hole, started to eat 800 calories per day, only vegetables, only protein, like that was it, an apple for dessert, and that just spiraled out of control. So I developed serious binge eating disorder. Like it's way more common than you think in the fitness industry. A lot of your favorite fitness influencers, they have binge eating disorder. So because I was putting so much shit in my body, I looked like shit, I had no energy, I felt like shit. I even kind of got fat at some point. And nowadays I look back and I think, wow, how could I just end up like this? In such a negative state of mind, like in such a negative situation, how could I let myself sleep up like that? So make sure you always eat healthy, single ingredient, unprocessed foods. Now foods which are great to specifically increase your testosterone would be red meat, liver. Like it's got so many minerals, vitamins, it has so many nutrients that a lot of other foods simply don't have. It's probably one of the best foods, yet we don't want to eat it because it's kind of gross. You know, it's liver, it's organ meat, but organ meats are literally the most nutritious food in the world. And then of course there's healthy fats. If you don't eat enough fats, it will have a negative effect on your hormones because your body cannot produce protein or fats on its own. However, it can take the fat that you eat, the protein that you eat, and turn it into glucose, which is what the body utilizes for energy. Now moving on to the next way to naturally increase your testosterone levels, it's weightlifting. I've personally always been fascinated by the gym and by weightlifting in particular, because when you analyze it in depth, you realize it's actually a very different type of sport. When people play football, when people play basketball, more often than not, it's because they genuinely enjoy the activity itself. They're not looking to become pros, so they train, then they go back home, they eat whatever they want to eat. They stay up late playing video games, watching Netflix, having fun with their friends, and so they train, but when they get out of the training session, their life just goes on. But when you're lifting weights, not only do you need to put in the work at the gym, but on top of that, you also need to put in the work outside the gym. You need to pay attention to what you eat. You need to rest enough, to recover properly, to sleep enough. Otherwise, you're not gonna make any progress. You're not gonna lose fat or build muscle or do both at the same time. Because to get in shape, every aspect of the equation has to be respected. Training, recovery, and diet. Lifting heavy weights is proven scientifically to increase your testosterone levels. The more muscle mass you carry, it typically means you have a higher level of testosterone. Because typically when you have a lot of body fat, it produces more estrogen. And especially if you're a guy, you don't want to have a high level of estrogen in your body. The truth is, whether you're a guy or a girl, we both have testosterone and estrogen. But if you're a guy, obviously, you want to have more testosterone and lower estrogen levels. If you're a woman, it's the opposite. The funny thing is that people get into weightlifting, like I said, not because they enjoy the activity itself, but rather because they're profoundly dissatisfied with who they are as a person. At the gym, you will hear countless stories of people starting to work out because they were bullied, because they couldn't find love, because they felt unlovable, because they hated themselves. It's not because, oh, they enjoyed the activity itself. For a lot of people, they just want to change, be better, improve themselves, and then they fall in love with the activity, with going to the gym. Moving on to the next way to naturally increase your testosterone levels, which is fighting. Picture this for a moment. You're in the ring. There's an opponent, he's punching you, kicking you. What are you gonna do? Your body's gonna release a lot of cortisol and a lot of adrenaline. Your testosterone levels are gonna increase because you're putting your body back in the position where it needs to fight or die. Your body doesn't know it's a controlled environment, so it's going to react exactly as if you were a caveman being attacked by a guy from an enemy tribe. So not only will it make you tougher physically, physically and also increase your testosterone levels, but mentally, it will make you tougher as well. Because especially if you want to achieve big things in life, you want to reach big goals, well, guess what? It's gonna be far from being easy. You will need a lot of mental toughness, a lot of resiliency, the ability to push past the pain and continue even when most people quit. So exercising, and in particular fighting, will teach you to push even when you feel a lot of pain. And then this will translate in every area of your life as well. You'll work better, you'll work longer, you'll show up earlier, leave later, you'll do better, because how you do one thing is oftentimes how you do everything. If you reach excellence in one area of life, chances are in other areas of your life, you won't feel like being sloppy, being lazy, because it's simply not a part of who you are. If tomorrow David Goggins was gonna say, I'm gonna build a multi-million-dollar business, the guy has such mental toughness, he would find a way to reach that goal, because how he does one thing is exactly how he does the rest. Moving on to the next way to naturally increase your testosterone levels, which is doing nofap. You've got to realize that sexual energy is the most precious source of energy stored within the body. So if you simply waste that energy by yourself, or worse, by watching pixels on the screen, other people doing the thing, like you watch it in third-person perspective, when then you're gonna do it in first-person perspective, and you teach your brain to be aroused by watching people doing it instead of doing it yourself. So it's two completely different things. But aside from that, it's gonna give you so much dopamine that your dopamine levels won't even drop back to baseline. Like every single time that you engage in these activities, because they give you so much dopamine, you become more and more unhappy. Countless studies have shown that people who consume porn or masturbate on a frequent basis have a much lower life satisfaction than those who don't. And as a guy, you've got big goals, big dreams. You wanna achieve a lot. And nature's most fundamental goal is to procreate, to keep perpetuating the species, to keep expanding itself. That is the biggest goal of life, if not the only goal. So when you waste your precious energy, the creative source within you, on pixels on a screen or just by yourself, guess what is happening? It drains you of the most powerful energy source you could have. Instead, you could transmute that energy, channel it into reaching your goals, into building an empire, into making a name for yourself, or building a Greek god body. But you won't, because now you're gonna be way too lethargic. Now you're gonna feel like watching Netflix, staying in bed all day, doing a bunch of nothing, ordering a pizza. You won't feel like going to the gym or doing some deep work, and so you won't make much progress. So the sad truth is that your dreams will die with you. Moving on to the next way to boost your testosterone levels naturally, speaking to other people. When I was socially anxious, I couldn't speak to anyone. I mean, it got so bad that at some point, I couldn't even go outside for a walk. I couldn't leave my parents' house. I remember taking a 5-second long video of myself walking outside and a picture of the woods. I sent it to my best friend. He was like, oh my god, you went outside? Congrats, brother, this is a huge step forward. You can see the screenshot right there. I didn't create that because I'd speak about it later in the future, but I took that screenshot because I knew one day I would tell the story. And the funny thing is that if you met me today, you would think I'm a born extrovert because I'm very confident and I'm skilled at speaking to people nowadays. However, I wasn't born like that. Confidence is earned, not given. The more you get out of your comfort zone, the more you do hard things that you don't feel like doing right now, but you know if you do these things, you will grow so much more as an individual. Guess what? It will only build a stronger character, which is why the next way to increase your testosterone levels naturally is to take more risks. Great things will never happen inside of your comfort zone. They happen outside of it. I'm sure you've heard that quote before, but let me tell you one thing, it is extremely accurate. A couple years ago, I dreamed of changing my life. I looked up to those people getting up at 5, at 6, crushing morning workouts, having dream-like bodies, working 10 hours a day, making millions of dollars every single year. And so I looked at those people and then I looked at myself. I mean, there was such a huge gap. I wondered, could I ever be like that? Back then I was so undisciplined, I couldn't do anything right. I couldn't focus. And I thought that to become successful, I needed to be perfect from day one. But no one would walk into a gym, try to bench 200 pounds when they've never even set foot in a gym before. Yet for some reason, I thought, oh, I could change my life completely. Get up at 5, exercise for like an hour and a half, and then work 12 hours. I mean, come on, I was just being a fool. But because I always had big dreams inside of me, like I knew I did not want to take those dreams with me in the grave, I knew I was put on earth to realize my mission, to make my dreams come true, and to show others they can do exactly the same. So at some point, I got so sick and tired of being mediocre, of wanting to be better, but not being bold enough to do what was necessary to actually become better. I started to force myself to do one thing that scared me every single day. Which brings me to the next thing, which will improve your testosterone levels, which is to always challenge yourself. If right now your life is horrible, you're out of shape, you're broke, maybe you feel lonely, you desperately want a relationship, but no one really gets you, you feel like you can't connect on a deep level with anyone, maybe you even have social anxiety, the best thing that you can start doing to transform your life within just a couple of months is to start doing the things you're so afraid to do. You've got to understand, successful people, they're just like everyone else. They're not superhuman necessarily, it's just that they have more courage than you do. That's why they're so far ahead and you're not. Because they're willing to do all the things that they don't want to do, that they don't feel like doing, or even that they're scared of doing. But so because they do these things, that is why they're successful. And that is why you're not. So make a list right now of all the things that you're afraid to do. Maybe you're afraid to go speak to a stranger. Maybe you're afraid to sign up for a gym membership. Maybe you're afraid to start your own online business, to start a YouTube channel. You know what? Get started on it today. Pick something on your list and do it today. If you do that, in 6 months, in 12 months, you will be unrecognizable. Believe me. I am living proof of it. Now, the other thing which will increase your testosterone levels is seduction games. Seducing someone, it's kind of like business. And in fact, lots of guys who are good with girls will also be great salesmen. Why? Because you need to figure out exactly what to say, when to say it, say the right thing at the right time, do the right thing at the right time, and avoid all the pitfalls that would disqualify you. Seduction is a game, and it's very close to the art of manipulation. Manipulation is only the greatest seductions. But when you're trying to seduce someone, your body's gonna release certain hormones. It will increase your testosterone levels because ironically the body thinks we might procreate. I know it sounds very animalistic to say it like that, but it is simply true. If you'd like to learn more on the topic of seduction, I really invite you to read The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. It's a fantastic book. Now, one thing that will seriously increase your testosterone levels like nothing else, it's not an activity per se, it's an outcome. It's winning. When you win, your testosterone levels elevate in your body. Let's say you just fought against another guy from an enemy tribe. You killed the guy. You are the stronger opponent. So because you win, your body raises testosterone levels. It signals reproductive fitness and the chance that you will pass on your genes. And when you do something difficult, it also triggers certain hormone releases inside of your body. Dopamine, but also testosterone. And the more you win, the easier it becomes to win. Why? Because now you've got positive momentum. That is the winner effect. Studies have shown that animals who won fights against weaker opponents were then later on capable of beating stronger opponents because of the winner effect, because it gave them positive momentum and also elevated their testosterone levels. Because let's be honest, when you have a win, how do you feel? Chances are it feels pretty damn good. When you see a Stripe notification for $5,000, trust me, it fires you up like nothing else. It gives you a lot of adrenaline and your testosterone levels shoot through the roof. Now finally, the thing that you absolutely want to do to increase your testosterone levels, it's actually to avoid taking drugs. This can be anything like nicotine. This can be also sugar, junk food, but we've covered that already. But you especially want to avoid things like prescription drugs, like antidepressant medications and similar medications are proven to significantly lower your testosterone levels. So as much as you can, please avoid prescription drugs. And of course, things like alcohol, it's a true poison for the body. Your body can't even use it to create more energy. And then you see these guys like walking around with a beer belly. So it's messing up their hormones, making them gain more body fat, and so as a result, their body will produce more estrogen. The more fat you carry on your body, the more estrogen you will produce, and the lower your testosterone levels will be. So you need to be very careful. Stay away from all drugs whatsoever. They're not serving you. And I know it's a lot easier said than done, because you might be in a very difficult situation right now, and your only way to cope, it's to smoke, it's to drink alcohol, it's to play video games for 12 hours a day. But you've got to realize this kind of behavior, it's only sinking you further and further. It won't help you. If you just lost a closed one, of course you feel depressed, it's completely normal, and only time will heal this type of wounds. But if you're depressed because you're dissatisfied with your life, you're out of shape, you're broke, you're lonely, the only thing that's gonna change that situation, help you to stop feeling depressed, it's getting after exactly what you want, because no one will give it to you. Now, if you want to learn how to build a profitable online business, get in shape, master social skills, and much more, and you also want to join a community of highly dedicated guys, click the first link in the description below. Now with that said, what are you waiting for? It's time to get to work.